But what you find is that 1913 is 1 year before World War I.
Okay.
Then 1937 is 2 years into the Great Depression and World War II. Those are timings. What particularly cannabis sativa, the brand cannabis sativa, which is industrial hemp, is used for, it is used for making military material, hardy material, canvas, producing foods, twine. It has a broad hemp oil. It has about, actually it's an industry on its own. It's a huge industry. And one of that's industrial hemp specifically. Now, after the war finished, in 1942, when they realized that there was a problem, I think there was a crisis, they went and lifted the ban on growing hemp so that they could again restock and supply. Yeah, so it's all commercial, and it's traceable, it's written down. It boils down to one man called Andrew Mellon and a man called Anslinger, who were brothers-in-law. One was Secretary of State, one was the DEA.
So you as Gwanda Ogot, why do you want bang legalized in Kenya?
Because I want to farm hemp. Hemp has it's a whole industry. I want to farm hemp. Hemp doesn't need, or marijuana doesn't need pesticide, fungicide, herbicide. It grows hardy. And it is quite clear that the Cannabis sativa indica forma, that particular brand that is found in Kenya, has medicinal value that can treat up to 677 known medical conditions and diseases, which I have presented to the Senate. That's why we are discussing to this level. This is what it can do. The leading researchers in the world today on medicinal marijuana is Israel, which legalized last month, Spain, and the US. And what are they saying? Oxford University just started a 10 million pound research center they're establishing this year. So why would it be that suddenly over 40 nations across the world are legalizing? Because it has medicinal value. Now that medicinal value, like in my home in Luoland, if a child is sick, we do not go, like say with measles, we don't go to the hospital. You get from the fence, chew it, put it in water, wash the child with, it goes. 2 days.
I think the look on my face right now. You do that for a child?
Yes, it's done. It's commonplace. You don't go to the hospital. It works. Okay. That's why it's called, in my language, Luo, it's called Yap. And in my mother's language, which is Luya, it's called Omsara. Both of them mean medicine. So one of the questions I posed to the Senate today is that there's a young language called English that says this is a narcotic drug. But in my mother tongue and in my father tongue, they say it's medicine. So who should I listen to? The logic of my ancestry, or this imported logic that has come with this, that came by a young language called English? Who should I listen to? Whose logic? Mine is ancestral, and it is based on biblical edict. This is God's plant to mankind because there is no plant that can treat up to 677 medical conditions in the world. Only one. And that is why out of 430,000 plants across the world, I think it's just 1 or 2 that are banned. And all of them have one distinction: medicinal value.
So basically, according to you, this is God's gift to humans?
For treatment, 607. Now, let me tell you why, actually. Let me just give you a background.
Please.
There is something called cannabinoids. That's the basis of marijuana or of cannabis as medicine. The only plant of all the 430,000 known plants in the world, only one has the capacity to produce cannabinoids. The only other thing that produces cannabinoids is human beings.
Okay.
Now, from there, you match them. And then you realize, why would this match with this? Why is everybody taking that interest? It's because of this thing called cannabinoids. And then there is Delta 9. It's all based on what this can do. It's been able to, they've proved that it can treat breast cancer, all cancers. And they have found 113 strands of cannabinoids. So which means that there is 113 solutions to certain ailments. And the only thing is that we don't know. And the fact that we don't know doesn't mean we should condemn it. So what I did to actually deal with this thing, like the cigarette that has been put here, this is really narrowing the debate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's narrowing. It's a bigger, broader thing. And actually very embarrassed when I went to the Senate and somebody asks me, have you smoked it? I think they deserve to be a little more respect in terms of from the leadership. When I go to the Senate, I'm a father. I have 6 and above children. And when I go there with sense. I'm not going there with to smoke. I mean, going there presenting, and then second, there's something this nation has to get used to, that we must have people in the nation who have the capacity to test what exists in terms of knowledge and to produce new knowledge. Our entire universities, most of them, more than 95%, are consumers of knowledge. They have their production challenged. They can't produce. Everybody says, I have read so much. And you ask him, who has read you? No one. Then you say that I have learned so much, but what have you produced? I have consumed, I have read who.
So you're testing
I'm
your
not testing, this is now fact. This, okay. I'm challenging this, the ban on marijuana, and I'm challenging anyone who has come up with any new information, because we are not setting precedents. We have over 40 nations that have gone this way. Nations that are bigger than us that we normally rely for in terms of even aid and finance. Why are they doing it, and why are they not telling us? They're setting us up here. We're doing everything, cotton, AGOA, and all these things. But there's one place that nobody is speaking about. Marijuana medical research, which is the biggest thing going on in the world today. That's the biggest medical thing. Most of these nations, Israel, Germany, have all but pegged the entire public health policy on the marijuana plant for the future.
So for you, if you were to do this for Kenya, it would basically mainly be on medicinal value.
Medicinal. Now, there's two strands that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
The cannabis forma indica has what we call the delta-9. That's the tetrahydrocannabinol that makes you high. But that's because it has huge medicinal capacity. Now, that is what can do most of this magical medicine.
Okay.
And then there is what is called cannabis sativa, which is industrial hemp. And that is what is the industrial wonder. So whichever side you go, these things just do magic. And the information is out there. The only difference is that people are not reading. A lot of people are relying on hearsay, and they cannot sit up and challenge this notion because they're expecting some Zungu to come and tell them, now it is okay for you to legalize, go ahead. We are getting instructions from people who shouldn't be telling us about what we should be doing.
So this would be a good place to ask the concern that probably a lot of people would have with respect to what you're trying to get legalized. How then do you prevent young men and women from abusing this?
Okay, let's just go back a little. We have what is consumed here that makes people intoxicated. We have marijuana, alcohol, and the rest. Alcohol kills. What do we have? Regulation. You can't buy it at this time. You can't drink it at this time. Over 18. Regulate. No human being has the authority to ban any plant that God has put. No human being has that authority. Because every human being came here, found these things here, will die and leave them. So let's rationalize ourselves. What is it that we can do and what is it that we don't understand? About 2 years ago, I wrote a new theory on circumcision, telling people that it's based on water and sunshine. No TV station was ready to host that debate because it was so sound, and every organization I went to was giving me letters telling me that this is fantastic, this is the way to go. But nobody could talk about it. Now, today I've come up with this. Suddenly, everybody was challenging, shut up on the universal theory of circumcision, that where there is water, there is no circumcision. And where there is a shortage of water, there is circumcision. Okay. Now, here on this, marijuana just can treat, the cannabis sativa can provide building material and everything. And then the other part, the cannabis indica, is just medicine, cannabinoids. Okay. Cannabinoids.
So according to you, this is God's gift to
Tell me which other plant can do 677 diseases or conditions that are tabulated and it is there.
I'd have to do a lot of research.
Yes, you have to. Yes, because there's people who have summarized this knowledge.
Listen, Gwanda got researcher and of course the petitioner behind the push to legalize the use of cannabis for medical and industrial use in Kenya, sir. Thank you so much for speaking to us on KTN Prime.
Thank you.
This is a conversation probably that will not end here. This is a conversation that we need to pick up in the coming days. But thank you for spending time with us and speaking to us on KTN Prime.
It was nice being here.
People, you're watching KTN Prime. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, that conversation I've just had with Gwanda is the basis of a big question tonight. We're asking you, do you support Gwanda's petition to